Alrighty, good morning everybody. Just barely 12 minutes past midnight here. We are in Little Rock, Arkansas, here at one of our OG terminals. We just got everything wrapped up. I'm about to head out of here. If it's your first time here to the channel, welcome. My name is Logan, aka the Army Vet Trucker. I am an extra board line haul driver for ABF Freight. Just getting myself departed out here. It took us a little bit to get the ball rolling. I had to go into the shop, and it's pretty much one of the longer shop delays I've had in a while. I first had to go in and get the cables here from the tractor to the lead trailer. I had to get them hemmed up. You know, I guess when they got these new tractors in, somebody got the wrong part number for the electrical cable, and they're way too long. So they've been, every time I get a newer tractor, I wind up having to take it in because the cables are dragging the catwalk there. And you know, I think a lot of people might think that's a minor thing, but you know, it's basic CDL stuff there. If your cables are dragging your catwalk, that's supposed to be a no-go. So I had to go in for that to one shop, and then here they have a different shop for trailers, and I didn't have brake lights on my rear pup, my rear trailer, and so I had to go into a different shop to do that. So I've been here a total of an hour just messing around in the shop. And you know, that's one thing I have to stress to you guys. If you're the operator of a set of equipment, you know, it's not your company that's going to say it's unsafe. It's not the shop that's going to say it's unsafe. It's going to be you. You know, that's your job as the driver. You know, you could roll with it. If you're in a hurry, whatever, you know, you roll with it, then you get pulled in for a scale and get inspected, and you don't have brake lights, and you're like me tonight where I got dangerous when wet and spontaneously combustible. Shoot, man, if that's you, good luck to you, but that's not me, because I'll be in the shop. They might get huffy and puffy about some minor things, but, you know, that's my thing. Maybe I'm just a little bit too picky, but it's better to be safe than sorry, in my opinion. But anyways, I'm just looking here on the GPS to see. We've got hazmat, so they're not going to want us going right through downtown Dallas on 30. So we'll probably have to hit the loop over 635, go around it, and it might take us all the way around. We'll have to go down, I guess, maybe loop 12, and then 30 over, and then the terminal in Fort Worth's pretty close to downtown. So usually they don't like hazmat going through downtown Fort Worth, but we're actually ending our dispatch in Fort Worth. So as long as it's a local delivery within the city, we can go off the hazmat route. You know, obviously we can't teleport to the terminal if they don't want us there, so we're gonna have to go on some roads that they don't want hazmat through traffic. But since we're going to a terminal in Fort Worth, we're not technically through traffic, so shouldn't have any issues there. But we're gonna get out of here finally. I think we're all set. We're in another Mac today. Pretty good setup. It's been a little while since the last video, a few days anyway. I haven't figured out exactly a good schedule to these videos yet. You know, I might wind up doing one weekly, might do one every few days. I'm gonna bounce around here a little bit, so you guys bear with me. It's my first time doing anything like this, so just try to be patient. I'm building up a little bit more confidence, starting to talk a little bit more natural, I think, behind the camera, and that's good. So I know one thing I wanted to talk about. I had a couple questions in the last videos, and an email or two, and I was just going to touch on a few things here in today's video about home time, like how much time you can expect to spend at your home if you choose to be a line haul truck driver with ABF, at least on the extra board. And I won't get too much into the bid stuff today. I might in a later video, but I don't really know a whole lot about bid stuff. I've never been on a bid run. I'm so new. Anyways, I'm gonna get off here with you guys. We're just heading out of the terminal here. I know another thing too, real quick, is the last videos were way too long, man. I don't even realize how long I'm rambling until I sit down and start editing a video. But you know, I think that last video I put out was 50 minutes long. That's I'm gonna work on that, guys, I promise. You know, I'll try to stop rambling so much and start making a little bit of a shorter video. That way you guys can, it's more manageable, you know, watch it on a lunch break, or watch it, you know, while you're eating dinner, whatever, you know, on your, you know, whatever. But I'll work on it, guys. But I'm gonna get off here, get out on the highway, get out of Little Rock, and I'll catch back up with you guys here in a little bit. Alrighty guys, we got ourselves out of Little Rock on I-30, went through Texarkana, and now we're in Rockwall going over Lake Ray Hubbard, about to come into Dallas. So it's about to start picking up here pretty quick. But I just wanted to chime in here and talk a little bit about what you can expect as an extra board line haul driver with ABF as far as your home time goes and how much you'll be able to spend with your family and your kids or whatnot. But just to get right into it, basically the way it works is whenever you get called to work, you are going to get one of two options basically. Either you're going to have the option to take a lay down run or a turn run. And a turn run's pretty straightforward. That just means that you're going to go out to either a terminal or a meet spot where you meet another driver, swap trailers, turn around, and go back wherever you just came from and be back to your home terminal the same day, back in your own bed without having to lay down in a hotel. But that's when the lay down takes in. So whenever you get a run that's going anywhere else besides somewhere that's a turn run, you will have to lay down in a hotel. And that's where a good majority of our runs are lay down runs, at least right now. So generally, I think I mentioned it in the last video, whenever I have been on lay down runs, I'd say a good 7 out of 10 times the next dispatch, whenever I wake up after my rest, takes me back to my home terminal, Dallas. And that might differ depending on what region you're wanting to go to, where you want to work, and what your terminal does exactly. But you know, that's generally how it's been for me out of Dallas. But it's not like that every time. You know, the 3 times out of 10 that isn't back home to Dallas the next dispatch is when I get extended. And all that means is that whenever your rest is up out of the hotel, they're not going to sit you there in the hotel in order for you to just wait and get freight heading back towards home, because they have to start paying you after a certain amount of time in the hotel, and they're not going to do that when they could just send you out with whatever freight they have available at the time your rest is up. So basically a good example of that is Albuquerque is a common terminal that does that. And basically what would happen is I'd get off my rest and they'd call me with a dispatch, and I would go either, you know, Salt Lake City, Tucson, Arizona, Las Vegas, Nevada, places like that. And whenever that happens, I know, like for Salt Lake, for example, I can't, so my first dispatch takes me to Albuquerque out of Dallas, and the second one would take me up to Salt Lake. On the third one, I couldn't go all the way back down to Dallas. That's too far for us. So I'd have to go back down to Albuquerque first, then back to Dallas on the fourth. But a good thing with ABF is that they allow us to request, if at the end of your second tour, if you're not going back home, you can request on the little in sheet that we sign in on to be home on your 4th tour. And that doesn't mean that they are going to do that, but what that opens up is the possibility for you to get paid bedtime. And I know it sounds pretty goofy, but basically all that means is at the end of your 4th tour, as long as you requested to be home, if you lay down in a hotel, you get paid all the time you spend in the hotel. So for example, the last time this happened to me, I was in Amarillo. I came in from, I think it was Denver, into Amarillo on my 4th tour, laid down in the hotel, and I sat there for 20 hours waiting on a load to take me back to Dallas. And so, you know, you can imagine I wound up getting paid a pretty good week for sitting in the hotel at my hourly rate for 20 hours. So that's just with all that and how that works. Now, when you actually do wind up getting home, well, what are your options for trying to spend more time at home? You know, so basically your first option, which is the default option, is going to be you're going to come into the terminal, you're going to punch the clock, and you're going to go home, and you're going to just go home for your 10-hour rest. And for me, for example, like I'm coming back into Dallas, I got to go to Fort Worth first, but it'll probably be around 7 a.m. when I'm actually punching the clock in Dallas to go home. So with it being 7 a.m., your 10-hour break starts, so I'll be available to drive again at 5 p.m. So that lines up pretty well with the call blocks in Dallas, which are every 3 hours. So the call block that I would fall into would be the 3 p.m. call block. So they'd call me at 3 p.m. for a 5 p.m. showtime, and I'd get back on the road. And that, you know, you could imagine, you could do the math there, that's 10 hours, and some people live like an hour away from the terminal, and so if you're spending 2 hours of your 10 hours just on your commute, then you can imagine, I mean, you gotta go home and sleep too, right? And how many hours do you gotta sleep before you're well rested? So you can connect the dots there, but ABF knows that, and ABF knows that you'll want to go home, you'll want to go to the gym, play some games, hang out with the family, whatever. So we have the option to do what's called sliding a call block. And using the same example from a second ago, basically all that means is that instead of being called at the 3 p.m. call block to be driving again at 5 p.m., I can slide to the next call block, which would be the 6 p.m. call block. And they have to give us 2 hours from the time they call. Sometimes they'll call and give you more than that. You can get called and have, you know, they might say, you know, call me at, say, 6 p.m. and say, hey, you got a 10 p.m. showtime, and that might happen, but they have to give us at least 2 hours. But if I slid, then I wouldn't be on the 3 p.m. call block, I'd be on the 6 p.m. call block, and the soonest I'd be out at the terminal driving again is 8 p.m. So, you know, you can do the math there. That gives you just a little bit more time at home with the peeps, and you get to, you know, enjoy your time a little bit more. Another thing that we can do is what's called dropping 24. And that just means you drop 24 hours. You're off the call board for 24 hours. Sorry about that, guys. I had to kind of focus on my signs there for a minute. 635 and 30 right there at the interchange is all under construction, so it was kind of a mess, but I had to get going to the right direction here with my hazmat. So anyways, I was talking about 24 hours and how you can drop and off the board. And you know, the only time that I know of that is not allowed is when the board is exhausted. And all that means is that there's more dispatches, more freight being moved than there are drivers available. And if that were to be the case, then you probably wouldn't be able to drop 24. But other than that, as far as I know, you can drop as often as you want. If you wanted to drop every single time that you come into Dallas, you probably could, but I wouldn't really recommend that for a new driver, just because you're going to want to work as much as you want. You're going to want to work as much as you can. You know, you're at the bottom, you're going to be just picking up the crumbs of what's left over, you know, from everybody else. So if you're dropping 24 every time that you come back in, you're limiting yourself to how much you can work. So I wouldn't recommend doing it, but it is an option. The main times I've done it is if I have an appointment or if I have something I need to do, and you know, dropping 24 allows me to do that. That's when I'll do it. I don't do it very often, maybe once a month or so. I'll just kind of wait and hang out for my ATO, which is the other thing that you can do. And by the way, in the last video I had it backwards with ATO. It actually stands for accumulated time off, not approved time off, but even though I've heard it called that before. But it's still the same thing. ATO is ATO. It doesn't really matter what the abbreviation is, I guess. But that's the other option, and I talked more about ATO and how that works in the last video. And just to kind of keep this video a little shorter, if you haven't watched that previous video, you can go back and I'll elaborate a little bit more on how ATO works. But that's obviously another option that you can take whenever you arrive. If you've got enough tours to take ATO, you can take it and spend your weekend per se at home, and then just go back onto the board once your ATO's up. But that's pretty much it with that, guys. I mean, that's your home time in a nutshell. I know for one thing for sure with ABF is that we aren't one of those carriers that like to have guys out running non-stop, you know, a week or two at a time. You know, some carriers will do that. They'll send their guys out and they'll be able to go out for like a week or two and come back for a weekend. But ABF doesn't really like to operate like that. They have the ideal structure to where you do the standard operation for a laydown. You leave your home terminal, you go down to wherever you're going, you lay down, and then you come back home the next day. That's generally how they like it to work. Now, you can call dispatch, and if you don't want to request to be home on your 4th, you can talk to them, and maybe they can even extend you out further, 5, 6 dispatches. But that just might, I wouldn't consider that to be a regular thing that you can do. You might be able to do it if you had a slow week last week and you want to recover a little bit. Maybe they'll help you out, but like I said, that wouldn't really be a consistent option for you. If that's really what you're looking to do, then ABF might not be your best option, even though they could accommodate it sometimes. And another thing too with ABF is, in the future, I know that they have started to show more interest in changing our laydown runs over to meet and turns, and trying to do more meet and turns versus the laydowns. And us being a union company, everything changes slowly. We have to negotiate every change that they propose into a contract with the Teamsters. So, you know, they propose things and we have to talk about it for who knows how long, and then eventually the change will get implemented. But one thing that they have shown interest in doing is being more turn and run, or excuse me, meet and turn versus lay down. And in my opinion, that's a good thing, because you go out to your meet, which is halfway of what it would have normally been, and you meet somebody else, swap trailers, and go back to where you just came from. So you're still getting, in theory, the same amount of miles as you would have. It's just you get to go back home at the end of your run instead of laying down in a hotel. So, you know, it's a win-win. It's cheaper for the company. They don't have to pay for hotels, and it's a win for you because you still get the same amount of miles and you still get to go home to your bed instead of a hotel. So with that all being said, that's pretty much all there is to it. If there's anything that I kind of described in a way that was confusing, drop a comment and let me know. I can elaborate a little bit more on it in a later video, or if something's still a little fuzzy with how the home time works and how everything that goes into it, just let me know. And then one more thing too before I chime out here to get the rest of the way into town is you obviously still get your paid time off and your sick days. I think after your first year you get a week of paid time off that you can take, and it obviously increases incrementally from there the more years that you're with the company. And shoot, I think it goes all the way up to like 8 weeks or something. So that's a pretty good option with ABF, is your paid time off once you get enough of it under your belt. And then obviously your sick days, I believe it's either 5 or 7 that you get per year that you can take, and depending on the terminal that you're going to be at and your region, they may require a doctor's note for sick days. You'll have to just get with your line haul manager and see what they require, but you do have sick days that you are entitled to every year that it gets reset. But other than that, guys, I'm gonna finish getting in here around this dang loop that's forever under construction, and these drivers that are going 40 miles an hour. And I'm gonna get into the terminal, drop a trailer. I think they have us set up to just take the single pup that's going to Dallas back over to the Dallas terminal and drop the trailer at Fort Worth instead of having to like string it empty on the back or something. So that's pretty good. We'll just drop a trailer and get out of there pretty quick without having to wait on anybody to string up my set or anything. So anyways, guys, I'll catch back up with y'all here in a little bit. Alright guys, just got in here to Fort Worth and we're in here in the terminal now. I already went in the office and checked in, arrived myself and all that. We got kind of messed up, I won't lie, earlier on 635. I don't go that way very often. I only have to go that way when I have hazmat. It really isn't that common that I do get hazmat, but for some reason I thought loop 12 interchanged directly with 635, but that's not true. You have to get on 35E south and then 12 south splits off, then you can get back on 30, but it's all good. It worked out in our favor because we were able to stay on 635 and we got on 121, then 183, then we got on 820, then we got on back on 30, which got us all the way back in here to the terminal. So, but geez guys, if y'all are looking into driving and thinking about being based out of a big city like Dallas, I mean, it's inevitable. You're gonna have to come and drive through these big cities a lot, and you know, you just got to make sure that you're reading your signs and being safe above all else, because as soon as you like realize you're about to miss an exit or something and you freak out and decide to, you know, jerk across 3 lanes and try to take an exit, that's the set we're taking over to Dallas. They actually changed our plan on us. I'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, you just gotta be safe, guys. You know, whenever you're driving in the city, if you found out that you're about to miss an exit, just go with it, because you know it's you'll be able to, if nothing else, you'll be able to pull off, take an exit, and get somewhere safe to stop and reevaluate. If not, then you can just fall back to an alternate route that'll work out. But I'm about to get this set in here. It looks like there's a yard tractor following me. This guy's probably gonna help me unhook right here, and maybe we'll see what he's gonna do. But I'm gonna get this thing in here. He's actually, I think, grabbing this trailer right here. Let's see. Get this set dropped off right here, and they're gonna probably break it down in almost pretty quick. We'll see what's gonna happen, but yeah, anyways guys, they changed my plan on me a little bit. They've decided to, I'm gonna just drop this entire set. The lead pup here, the one that's got hazmat on it's going to Dallas, but they'll probably just rebuild it into a different set and get it over to Dallas when another road driver comes through here. They come through here all day, so anyways, I'm good here, so I'm gonna go ahead and hop out, show you guys what it's like to do a good old drop and hook. We already did a post trip and walk around and everything. Everything looked good. I don't know what they had done with that rear pup back there, but they must have loaded it wild. Sometimes they do it off center a little bit with the weight and get it all wonky. But every time I hit a bump, man, that trail pup was just a swaying around. You know, it's kind of a struggle to keep it in the lanes, but that's how it is sometimes. If it's looking like it's getting away from you or you're crossing the lines or anything, you just got to slow down. Everybody else can just go around. When I'm dropping these landing gear, I usually get it within about a few inches, about right there. I'll leave the handle out, pull the 5th wheel, disconnect all of my hoses. Lay them right here for now, since we're just going to hook to another set. If I'm ever PC into a hotel or something, I'll stow them in the little bracket there. Yeah, these trucks are pretty nice. Even though it's a single rear axle, they still have the bags that can dump in the back, so that's all we got to do whenever we're dropping and hooking is just dump the bags. And always just pull forward, get out from under it. And then once you're clear of it, you want to stop right where the trailer is still on top of the frame. Being on asphalt, it's probably not that big of a deal, but whenever you're stopping on soft terrain, some of these terminals will have dirt yards, and you want to make sure it's not so soft that the legs are just going to sink into the dirt. Because if they do, then it's going to give them a bad time, and whoever the next driver is to hook to that set, if those legs sink down into the pavement. But This should be our outbound right here. I'm gonna double check before I hook to it. Pull over here to where I can see both of the trailer numbers. 82211 and 552930. That's it. So we'll whip around right here. Make sure nobody's coming from that way. These yard guys will whip around pretty quick, man. They'll tend to catch you off guard. But yeah, guys, this is pretty much the typical process right here. I might have to realign myself. Maybe I'll be good. Oh yeah, we got it. It's a little bit low. Should be able to still... Well, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys a trick. If you ever back up, this one should be fine, but I'll show you guys anyway. If you ever back up to a trailer and it looks like it's gonna be too low and you're not gonna get a good contact with your fifth wheel plate, if you got bags, you can just drop them real quick. Drop your axle just like that. Once it's down, you can get under it. Maybe. And once you're got the weight on the tractor, put the bags back up and it'll lift it back up, and then get the rest of the way under it, get the fifth wheel locked, and then do your test tug. What I mean by test tug is just put it in drive, give it a little bit of throttle, make sure that kingpin got correctly latched in, and then beyond that, all there is to it. Go back out here. I always start from the back and work my way forward, that way I don't miss anything. Other guys will start from the front and work their way back the opposite. On the little bracket there. I'm going to look up under here, make sure our kingpin's all latched in there. It was. Get my connections on here. Yeah, the connection there is still pretty low, even though this is what I was talking about earlier. This green cable here is what he replaced. He's gonna had to, see, this one's even too long too, you know. He's had to zip tie it over there to the exhaust support to be able to get it up off the catwalk. But if it works, it works. So I'm just gonna do a walk around real quick, listen for some air leaks. So I'm just gonna supply trailer air and pull down my brake handle. We'll do a quick walk around. So we're checking here, making sure there's no leaks in the air. It sounds good. Checking all of our marker lights and clearance lights. It's all good here. Checking our tires. Got air, mud flaps, tires. I hear a little bit of air. Now it just went off. That's just the tank filling. You'd hear air from one of these clad hands right here if it's leaking. Always check this guy right here. I've had a few times where I've come and done my pre-trip on a set, and the latch won't be fully seated here. So you always gotta make sure you're careful with that. Man, this thing. This gear, the landing gear on this converter dolly wasn't all the way up, so I'm just gonna get it the rest of the way there. Clearance lights. So we don't have brake lights right now, so this is what I'm looking for right here. Go ahead and check the rest of it. Don't have brake lights here either. And tires, good to go. Mud flap. Yeah, we don't have brake lights right now, which we should because that handle's down. So I'll go double check my connection up on the front pup because right now none of them have brake lights. Clearance lights are all good. Marker lights. Got air. Mud flap. No, the tractor's good. We already checked it coming in, so whenever you notice something like that's going on with your brake lights, it's usually something right here. If it's all three, both trailers and the gear, then you know it's probably something right here. And usually it's this guy is the culprit. Kind of just get it in there a few times, and if there's dirt or grease on the pins, sometimes just going in and out a few times will fix the issue. Yeah, still no luck there. So let's see what the next step is. I know sometimes guys will, that might actually work right there. You know what, actually I'm gonna use one of these. I need to start carrying zip ties for this, because what a lot of times guys will do is they'll just get a zip tie and put it around like this guy right here, and then tuck it in right up under that connector, because sometimes all it is just that slack is what is causing the issue. So whenever you don't have a zip tie or anything else to fill that gap, you know, you can find something, a piece of paper and fold it up, or, you know, in this case, a piece of metal. Now let's see if that fixed our issue. Now we only have a turn signal over there and nothing over here. Yeah, this lead pup might have some issues, so we might have to get the on-call mechanic out here if we can't get this thing all sorted out. I'll try it one more time and see. I'm gonna actually, I'll do it one more time and see just that extra little bit of just spacing it out a little bit, giving it a little bit more something to fill that void so it's not loose in there, you know, if you know what I mean. And just to double check myself to make sure I'm not just being a rookie. Yeah, we got our, so this bar is down, so that means our brake light should be on. Doesn't look like it. Yeah, still nothing. So we'll have to get the on-call mechanic out here and get this thing fixed up. If not, they'll probably just give me a different trailer or something. But anyways, guys, that's my troubleshooting procedures. If none of that works, then it's pretty much out of your hands. But I'll go and get the manager to call the on-call mechanic out here and see what the deal is. But I'll catch back up with y'all here in a little bit. Alrighty guys, we're back. It's been about an hour. Yeah, I don't know what the deal has been with brake lights today, but I've been having a time with them. I didn't have any lights before in Little Rock on the rear pup, and now today when I come and do my pre-trip here with this set, I didn't have any brake lights at all. So I had to get the on-call mechanic out here. He got it all fixed up. All I did was come out and literally just touch it with his pinky and it fixed it. So I guess that's case in point to the magic touch. You saw me put that thing in and out like 3 times to do everything I know how to do, and he just came out in 5 minutes and just touched it and fixed it. But anyways, we're heading back out of the terminal here in Fort Worth. We're all hooked and pre-tripped and departed and all that jazz, and we're heading over to Dallas now. And we've been here just long enough to catch some lovely morning traffic. So we're gonna get over on 183 and start heading back towards the terminal over in Dallas. We're gonna sit in some traffic, and I'll catch back up with you guys once we get there. Alrighty guys, well, we're here at the terminal in Dallas. We just got here. Gonna do my post trip real quick, and then we'll get into the terminal and drop this thing off, and then I'm gonna head to the house. Probably gonna wrap it up here though. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop a comment below. I'll get to it when I can. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to drop a like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you guys next time.